Joshi. Europe's top power couple have called on the Eurozone to boost growth to stop the debt crisis from spreading and ensure the very survival of the region's single currency. At a meeting in Berlin, Angela Merkel and Nicolas Sarkozy said it was just as urgent to reach a fast agreement with Greece's private creditors before more bailout money can be handed over. Athens has insisted it faces default and could have to abandon the euro if it doesn't get more cash by spring. The EU now needs to iron out a so-called fiscal compact treaty, which includes the threat of sanctions. It was agreed by most EU states last month, the UK being the only one to opt out, and could be signed by March. But many Eurosceptics say putting more trust in Brussels would be an error, as RT's Tess Arcilia now reports.
When times are this hard, every cent counts. For the 17th year in a row, the European Court of Auditors refused to give the EU accounting books a clean bill of health. The court found that in 2010, 3.7% of the EU's budget was spent in error. That's 4.5 billion euros essentially wasted due to mistakes, like ineligible or incorrect calculation of costs claimed to EU co-finance projects or breaches of public procurement rules.
And to be fair, Brussels gets criticized because Brussels is easy to criticize. That said, though, it shouldn't forgive them for having that error rate. There is a feeling that is not unjustified that in Europe, Brussels, the Commission, the institutions have not taken the really hard look at their budgets and done the hard cutting that a lot of the member states have.
In fact, the EU Commission and Parliament wanted to have some 133 billion euros to spend next year, but settled on 129 after tough negotiations with member states. Well, that's still an increase of 2%.
Because the EU budget uniquely continues to grow. It only ever goes in one direction. What they call a cut here means a slightly smaller increase than they would have wanted in an ideal world. There are two kinds of money in the world. There's your money and there's my money. You know, we're much more careful with the second than with the first. The trouble is that here in Brussels, it's all somebody else's money.
Mostly their money. Which is why criticism arose when the Budgets Committee approved 38 million euros for the purchase of 3 buildings to increase office space for MEPs and their staff.
Now, the area behind me is a property site that will be acquired by the European Parliament. The project foresees the demolition of an existing building and the creation of a new one. The total cost, 125 million euros, 15 million of which will come from the EU budget.
Critics cried foul, but the project supporters stand their ground.
When there is a new member state, you need new space. It is ridiculous to say that we don't need more space when we have more staff. But if you say that, you mean to say that staff is sitting on each other's knees while working, and where we have this responsibility to do legislation for 500 million people in a proper way.
Again, there is an argument for this, that these institutions do need facilities. The timing is just horrible because of the austerity measures imposed in a lot of member states. The fact that Brussels is plowing on with grand plans for these beautiful new buildings just smells bad.
Yet it's not just about new buildings for bureaucrats that raises eyebrows.
How hard is it to just come up with receipts when they have spent money? The taxpayer pays for this, so of course it hurts them.
In fact, some say the allure of being a bureaucrat may also be hurting poorer member states, losing their best and brightest to Brussels.
Brightest people in those countries, the entrepreneurs, the people who could have done so much, making things, inventing things, selling things, creating businesses in their home states. Because nothing can compete with the advantages of being on the EU payroll, they all start gravitating towards either directly the Brussels bureaucracy or indirectly.
As the saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them. But that's clearly not a win-win solution for everyone. Tess Arcilia, RT, Brussels.